That's the first time ever. That's I figured might as well try it now, right?
I won't charge you for that.
That's for the what?
For the goatee
There you go.
idea.
All right.
So as someone who's had ties at both schools, why do you think this should be an annual game again, and you still have a lake house by Brian Kelly?
It is it's a great game because it's two really outstanding universities. You know, both schools have great academics. Both schools do it the right way. And I think in history of football, those are two of the very top schools, and they should always play each other. And do I have a lake house? No, he's got a really big one, I think. No, mine isn't like that. It's not by him.
Greg, the defensive line's obviously been an elite unit the past 3-4 years. How much kind of internal discussion in terms of how much control they have to take Saturday? I mean, do you feel like the D-line is going to set the tone?
Well, I think anytime you expect to have a very good defense, you got to have a very good defensive line. I mean, for the history of Michigan football, I mean, you think of the Glenn Steels and go back. I mean, the Will Carrs, and you go on and on back then, and now the last few years here with the Tacos and the Worms and the Glasgows and Clarks and all those guys, you have to have a very good defensive line in today's football to have a good defense. And this group understands that, they've played a lot of football. And whenever you've played a lot of football, the bar gets higher and higher every year. And they all have very high goals. And this is the first game in attaining those goals. And it's all it is. That's what happens. When you play the first game, when you work as hard as this group has worked in the summer, when you've had the experience that they had last year, this is the next step. Well, now it is. It's here. Let's see what you have.
How have you seen Dwumfor kind of take to the being in that sort of starter position? I mean, he hasn't started yet, but I mean, that leadership role, I guess, as far as being the front guy there.
Well, the thing that I think we have in our defensive line is like 2 years ago, and I talked about that all the time. We may have 8 starters. We may have 8 starters, and we may have the ability with our defense line this year to be able to tag themselves out. In other words, some places you have to say to a person, that guy looks tired now, we better put this guy in. Well, when you have a group of young men that have earned the right to play, I like to be able to say to them, you rotate yourselves. You look and watch that guy, and if it's going to be 4 plays or 3 plays or how many we decide, you're rotating on your own throughout the game. And so I look at this defensive line as having a possibility of having 7 starters possibly, and then you go from there. And that's how important it is. And when you have that, then when you're out on that field, there is no time to take a play off. There is no time to not go 100%. Because if you're going to be out there playing and your buddy wants to be playing and he's earned the right to play, then don't you dare go out there and not go hard.